The first step in making this light wheat oatmeal bread is to make oatmeal. I'm using mock mill's flaker to turn oat groats into flakes, which are similar to rolled oats. You can also use rolled oats for the oatmeal. And I'm using this red Fife whole wheat flour to add more flavor and a hint of cinnamon aroma. After the ingredients are prepped, I pour boiling water on the oats to hydrate and soften them. I set that aside to cool and immediately mix the dough. So while the oatmeal is cooling, the dough has a chance to build some gluten strength before I add the oatmeal to it. This is a sourdough bread, but we have instructions in the recipe notes for how to convert the recipe to instant yeast, if that's what you prefer to use. The recipe notes also link you to instructions for scaling the recipe to a different sized pan. After about an hour, I mix the oatmeal into the dough, folding the dough around the oatmeal, squishing it in, and also slapping and folding it. I sped up the video footage and cut some out, but the real total time working the oatmeal into the dough is about 3 or 4 minutes. I'm only going to let the dough rise to about 75% expansion rather than double, because I know that oatmeal is weighing things down. The dough is more fermented than it actually looks. This dough took about 6 hours to rise. I grease a loaf pan and get more flaked oats prepped to coat the crust once the dough is shaped. It's pretty loose and wet, so I use a fair amount of flour and I do an envelope fold before I roll up the dough, whereas usually I would just make a rectangle and roll that rectangle into a tube. To get the oats to stick to the crust, I brush water on it, then I flip it over and roll the dough in the oats. My dough proofed for 18 hours in the refrigerator, which was mainly a scheduling decision, though it does add some tasty complexity and sourness to the bread. A room temperature final proof is great too, and would probably only take a couple of hours, depending on your ambient temperature. To help the dough rise without rupturing, I'm going to bake it with a cover for almost half the time. I'm creating the form out of aluminum foil by wrapping it around the base of the pan. Another option to keep the crust soft for continued expansion is to brush it with water or milk. But with the flaked oats on the surface, it's easier to just use a cover. And of course, scoring to control the direction of the rupture works too. This recipe is on the Breadtopia blog, along with many other recipes that also use oats.